Hello, I'm Carlton Van Putten, founder and CEO of PayRent. Welcome to the Keys to Success podcast, where we unlock the secrets to smarter investments, smoother tenant management, and bigger profits, one episode at a time. Ready to master your property game? Let's dive in.
Hey everyone, and welcome back. Ready to unlock your rental success?
That's right, we're going deep today, beyond those landlord basics.
We're talking about tools and strategies that can seriously up your landlord game.
Oh yeah.
And let's be real for a sec. Who doesn't want less stress as a landlord?
Totally.
And more profit too.
Every landlord out there would agree with that for sure.
Okay, so what are we diving into today? Well, we've got a double feature. First up, TransUnion SmartMove for tenant screening. And then we've got PayRent to make rent collection a breeze.
Exactly. Think of this deep dive as your cheat sheet to mastering both sides of that landlord equation, finding great tenants and then making sure that rent comes in on time every single month.
Exactly. So let's kick things off with SmartMove. Now, I know a lot of you are probably familiar with TransUnion. You know, one of the big three credit reporting agencies.
Right.
But what you might not know is that they've got this secret weapon for landlords called SmartMove.
And it's not just your basic credit checks. SmartMove goes way deeper.
Oh, yeah.
It gives you like a complete view of your applicant's background. I'm talking credit history, criminal records, even eviction history.
So it's like having a private investigator in your corner, just without that trench coat and fedora.
Uh-huh, exactly. What I find truly impressive is SmartMove's resident score. It's this unique scoring model specifically designed to predict eviction risk.
So it's not just looking at their credit score.
Right. It's not just that. Resident score factors in a bunch of stuff. Things like rental payment history, income stability, even things about the property itself.
Interesting.
It gives you a much better picture of whether an applicant's likely to pay their rent on time and take good care of your place.
Really helps you avoid those problem tenants, right?
Exactly. It's all about using data to make those decisions. It can be a game changer for landlords, especially those who've, had bad experiences with tenants in the past.
Okay, so let's say you've decided to give SmartMove a shot. You sign up, you've got an applicant ready to go. What's next? How does it actually work?
One of the best things about SmartMove is how easy it is to use.
Okay, good.
It's all online, so you can say goodbye to mountains of paperwork. You just create an account, send an invite to your applicant, and they do the whole screening process online.
Okay, and what about the reports? How long do those take to come back?
That's the best part. You usually get those reports in minutes.
Seriously? Minutes? That's incredible.
Yep, you're not stuck waiting around forever to make a decision.
You can move quickly and confidently.
Exactly. And it's not just speed. SmartMove is super thorough, too. For instance, their criminal background checks use a nationwide database. It has millions of records.
So you're not just looking at what happened in your local area.
Exactly. You get that nationwide perspective, which is so important these days.
Especially with people moving around a lot more now.
Right. And it's not just convictions either.
Oh.
SmartMove also looks at things like pending cases, arrests, even dismissed charges.
Wow.
So you get a really complete picture of the applicant's background.
And, of course, it's all done by the book, right? Following the Fair Credit Reporting Act, so you know you're getting good information.
Absolutely. That's crucial. But here's a question. What if you've got multiple applicants and they all have okay credit scores and clean backgrounds? How do you choose?
That's where SmartMove's customization comes in, right?
Bingo. You can actually tailor the screening process to fit what's important to you. Let's say rental history is a big deal for you.
Yeah, makes sense.
You can actually weight that factor more heavily in your screening criteria.
I see.
Or maybe income stability is your main concern. SmartMove lets you adjust the weighting to match your priorities.
So it's not one size fits all. You're in the driver's seat.
Exactly.
I like that. Now let's talk about another big landlord headache, income verification.
Yes. The classic question. Can this applicant actually afford the rent?
Right. And we all know those self-reported incomes, sometimes they're a little optimistic.
Haha, for sure. That's why SmartMove takes income verification to a whole new level. They don't just look at pay stubs or W-2s. They use this really sophisticated model that analyzes tons of data points
Interesting.
to get a clearer picture of if the applicant is actually financially stable.
So tell me more about this model. What kind of data are we talking about?
Well, it looks at a lot more than just income. It digs into employment history, bank statements, even public records to see how healthy their finances really are.
So it's not just about what they make. It's about how consistently they've earned it and how well they manage their money.
Exactly. And because it uses this multifaceted approach, SmartMove can often spot red flags that you might otherwise miss.
Like what?
Things like inconsistent income or, signs of financial instability.
That's really helpful for landlords, I bet.
It can help you avoid late payments or, even worse, having to evict someone.
Okay, so we've talked about SmartMove and how it helps you screen tenants. But what about the next step?
Right.
You found the perfect tenant. Now you got to make sure that rent comes in every month without fail. And that's where PayRent steps in.
PayRent is all about taking those essential rent collection tasks and putting them on autopilot.
Okay.
Things like sending invoices, payment reminders, and even getting those payments directly into your bank account.
It's like having a personal rent collection assistant working for you 24/7.
Exactly. And the best part, it works seamlessly with SmartMove, so you've got a complete system from finding tenants to getting paid.
A true power couple. So let's break down PayRent. What are some of the coolest features that landlords need to know about?
Well, one of the standouts is definitely rent defense.
I've heard of that.
It's designed to help landlords avoid those missed payment nightmares. Imagine this before processing a rent payment. Rent defense actually checks your tenant's bank balance.
So you're not just crossing your fingers and hoping for the best.
Nope. You know for sure the money is there.
That's huge. It really takes away that worry.
Right. And get this. If their primary payment method doesn't work, rent defense tries a backup option automatically.
Wow. So even if there's a little hiccup with their main account, the rent still gets paid. That's peace of mind.
And it does more than just collect rent, too. PayRent keeps track of every transaction.
Oh, that's handy.
Makes it super easy to track your income, create reports, all that stuff.
Makes tax time way less stressful.
You got it. Picture this. You're off on vacation somewhere tropical, and your rent payments are still rolling in without you lifting a finger.
Now that's the landlord dream. Okay, but let's get down to brass tacks for a second. Some landlords might be thinking, all this automation is great, but do I still have any control?
Absolutely. PayRent gives you a ton of control and options to customize things. You can set up a grace period for late payments, for example, or customize the payment reminders. You can even adjust how often those reminders go out.
So it's flexible. You can adjust it to how you like to manage things and the needs of your tenants.
Exactly. And of course, you can always see all your transaction history whenever you want, so you're always in the loop.
Speaking of staying in the loop, PayRent lets you talk directly with your tenants through the platform, right?
Right. So you're not juggling a bunch of different communication methods. Everything's all in one place, nice and streamlined.
Okay, I'm liking this. PayRent sounds like a total game changer. But let's be real for a moment. In the landlord world, we're always looking for ways to save money.
Yeah.
So how does PayRent stack up cost-wise?
Great question. And the answer might surprise you. PayRent is really affordable, especially when you think about how much time and hassle it saves you.
So it's not just a good tool, it's a smart financial move, too.
Exactly. And they've got different pricing plans for different needs, and you can even have your tenants cover the cost if you want.
That's awesome. We've talked a lot about the benefits of SmartMove and PayRent individually, but what I really find amazing is how they work together.
Right. It's like they were made for each other.
They really were.
When you use SmartMove's powerful tenant screening with PayRent's smooth rent collection, you're creating a truly complete system.
It's a one-stop shop for everything a landlord needs.
Exactly. That's what we're going to dig into even more in the next part of our deep dive.
I can't wait.
Welcome back. Last time we were all about SmartMove and their incredible tenant screening. Now let's dive into PayRent. It's your secret weapon to make rent collection totally painless.
Yeah, for a lot of landlords, rent collection is a huge headache. Chasing down late payments, dealing with those bounce checks. It's a nightmare.
Tell me about it. That's where PayRent comes in. It turns that whole process into something smooth and efficient.
Okay, sell me on it. How does PayRent actually make life easier for landlords?
Just imagine this. You set up your rent payments once, and PayRent handles the rest, sending invoices, processing payments, even depositing that money straight into your bank account.
Okay, that sounds pretty amazing. But what about those tenants who are, shall we say, a little less than punctual with their rent?
Yeah.
We all know those tenants. How does PayRent deal with them?
Pay Rent has these automatic reminders built right in, so before a payment's even due, tenants get those little nudges. It helps keep them on track.
So you don't have to be the bad guy all the time.
Exactly. No more awkward phone calls or emails from you.
I like that. What I really love about Pay Rent, though, is this rent defense feature. It almost sounds too good to be true. What is it exactly?
Rent defense, it's basically insurance for your rent payments.
Okay.
Before it processes a payment, it checks your tenant's bank balance right then and there. Live, so you don't have to just hope the money's actually there, you know, for sure.
So no more lying awake at night wondering, are they going to pay or not?
Exactly. It's peace of mind. And here's the best part. If their main way of paying doesn't work, Rent Defense automatically tries a backup.
Wait, really? So even if something's up with their main account, the rent still gets paid? Wow. You can't put a price tag on that kind of peace of mind.
And it goes beyond just collecting rent, too. Pay Rent keeps these super detailed records of everything.
Oh.
It makes it so easy to keep track of your income, generate those reports, and stay on top of your finances.
Suddenly tax season doesn't seem so scary, right?
Exactly. And just imagine this. You're on vacation, relaxing on a beach, and those rent payments are still coming in like clockwork.
Now that's the life. Okay, let's get real, though. I know some landlords might be thinking, okay, all this automation sounds great, but what about control? Do I still have any say in how things work?
Oh, absolutely. Pay Rent gives you so much control, and you can customize things, too. You can set grace periods for late payments, for instance.
Oh, that's nice.
You can change what those payment reminders say and how often they go out.
So it's not like this rigid system. You can adapt it to your own style and what your tenants need.
You got it. And you can always see the history of all your transactions, so you're never out of the loop.
And speaking of staying in the loop, Pay Rent also lets you communicate with tenants right through the platform, doesn't it?
That's right. You're not jumping between a million different apps or emails.
It keeps things nice and organized.
Streamline. Need to send a quick message about a maintenance issue. No problem. Pay Rent's got you covered.
Pay Rent is sounding more and more like a game changer every minute. But you know, in the landlord world, we always have to think about the bottom line.
Yeah.
So how does Pay Rent actually compare cost-wise?
That's a great question, and you know the answer might surprise you. Pay Rent is actually very affordable, especially when you consider how much time and stress it saves you.
So not just a good tool, but a smart financial decision.
Exactly. Plus, they have different plans for different needs. You could even have your tenants pay for it if you wanted to.
Now, that's what I call win-win. We've been talking about all the great things about SmartMove and Pay Rent separately, but what really amazes me is how seamlessly they work together.
It's like they were meant to be.
A match made in heaven.
You use SmartMove to find those awesome tenants with good financial habits. Then you bring them on board using Pay Rent, and that whole rent collection process becomes automatic. You barely have to think about it.
It's like having a dream team in your corner, taking care of the two most important parts of your business. You're free to focus on other stuff like growing your portfolio or just, having some time to yourself.
Exactly. But remember, even though SmartMove and Pay Rent are incredible tools, they're not magic wands.
Right, of course.
You still need to be a proactive landlord. Being successful with rentals still takes work.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
They make things easier, but they're not meant to replace your own judgment or the relationships you build with your tenants.
You got it. Technology can help us make better decisions, but we still need to use it the right way. That means thinking about each tenant's situation, being fair and keeping those lines of communication open.
It's about finding the right balance between using technology and remembering that human connection is super important between landlords and tenants.
Well said. I think it's time we open things up for some questions, though.
Yes. Our listeners are probably eager to hear how SmartMove and Pay Rent can solve their problems.
Let's do it.
All right, first up, a question about tenant screening. I'm a small-time landlord just renting out one unit. Do I really need something as intense as SmartMove?
That's a good question. And you know what? The answer is yes. Even if you just have one unit, finding the right tenant makes all the difference in the world.
It's like one bad tenant can ruin the whole experience.
Exactly. And tenant screening, it's not just about protecting yourself financially. It's also about keeping everyone safe. You, your property, your other tenants, if you have any.
So it doesn't matter if you've got a ton of properties or just starting out with one smart move can help you find a good, trustworthy tenant. You'll have that peace of mind knowing you did your homework.
Absolutely. Okay, next question. This one's about Pay Rent. Is Pay Rent only for landlords with lots of properties? I only have one. Is it still worth it?
Another good one. And again, the answer is a resounding yes. pay rent grows with you.
Yeah.
1 unit or 100, it doesn't matter.
In fact, for smaller landlords who are already wearing a million hats, pay rent can be even more valuable.
Oh, how so?
All those automated features, they free up so much of your time and energy.
It's like having a personal assistant just for rent collection.
Exactly. No more chasing late payments, no more running to the bank to deposit checks. Pay rent handles it all smoothly and securely. You get paid on time every time.
And it connects directly with SmartMove, so you can manage everything in one place.
Tenant screening, rent collection, all in one platform.
It's so efficient. Okay, one last question. I'm not the best with technology. Is pay rent hard to learn?
Not at all. They made pay rent super user-friendly. It's easy to use even if you're not a tech wizard.
And if you do have questions, they have a great support team. They're really helpful.
Speaking of getting the most out of pay rent, there are a few more advanced features that can really up your landlord game.
Oh, I love the advanced stuff. Tell me more.
Okay, well, one feature that people don't always realize is that you can actually customize the lease agreement right within pay rent.
No way. So you can create a real legal lease specific to your needs, all on the pay rent platform.
That's amazing. And once that lease is signed, pay rent keeps track of all those important dates. Renewals rent increases. It even reminds you about those routine inspections.
So you stay totally organized.
You got it. And if you're looking to really grow your business and make communication easier, PayRent even lets you create a special portal for your tenants.
Oh, wow.
They can access important documents, submit maintenance requests, and even message you directly, all in one place.
It's like a mini world for your rental properties. Everything's right there.
Exactly. But before we get too lost in all the cool features, let's zoom out for a sec and think about the bigger picture.
Okay, I'm listening. What's the bigger picture here?
I think SmartMove and PayRent, they represent a new way of thinking about being a landlord.
Okay, interesting.
It's about being proactive and using data to make smart choices instead of just reacting to problems when they pop up.
It's about being a modern landlord, using the best tools and information to navigate this crazy rental market and create a successful business that works for everyone.
You nailed it. That's what makes this deep dive so exciting. We're not just talking about features, we're talking about a whole new approach to being a landlord. One that helps you be more efficient, get better results, and ultimately find more success.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what are some key things our listeners should remember as they're thinking about using SmartMove and PayRent?
That's a great question. I think the most important thing is that these tools are super powerful, but they work best when you're also actively involved in thinking about those relationships with your tenants.
It's not about letting the technology make all the decisions. It's about using it to make smarter decisions.
Right. And second, remember, SmartMove and PayRent, they work for everyone, whether you're a big-time investor or just starting out with one unit.
They make things so much easier and give you that peace of mind.
And lastly, don't let the technology scare you. Both SmartMove and PayRent are really user-friendly. Plus, they have fantastic support if you need help.
So take that leap, embrace the new stuff, and unlock the potential of your rental business. Welcome back to Keys to Success. We've covered so much in this deep dive exploring SmartMove and PayRent.
We've really gone in depth, haven't we? From finding those A-plus tenants with SmartMove to making rent collection a breeze with PayRent.
We talked about the features, the benefits, even addressed some of those common landlord questions.
But before we wrap things up, there's something I want to touch on that sometimes gets lost in the excitement of all this cool new tech.
Okay, you've got me curious. What is it?
The human side of being a landlord. You know, in today's digital world, it's easy to get caught up in all the data and forget we're dealing with real people, both landlords and tenants.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
SmartMove and PayRent, they give us these awesome insights and can do so much automatically, but at the end of the day, they don't replace human interaction and using good judgment.
Exactly. They help us make better decisions, but they shouldn't be making all the decisions for us.
We need to think about each tenant situation, be fair, and make sure we're communicating clearly.
Absolutely. It's about finding that balance, you know, between using technology and remembering that building relationships with your tenants is super important.
Okay, so let's say you're using SmartMove to check out a potential tenant and the report shows a past eviction. Do you automatically say nope to that applicant?
Not necessarily. Everyone has their own story, right? And one little piece of information doesn't always tell the whole story.
Right.
We should use that info to start a conversation. Give the applicant a chance to explain what happened.
Maybe there were special circumstances.
Right. Or maybe they've learned from that experience and they're way more responsible now.
It's about giving people a fair chance and understanding that people can change.
And on the other hand, even if someone has a perfect record, it's still a good idea to meet them face to face, get a sense of their personality, and make sure it's a good fit for your property.
And if you have other tenants, make sure it's a good fit for them too.
Because in the end, we're not just renting out properties, right? We're creating communities.
That's a great way to put it. And those communities, they need respect, communication, and understanding to really thrive.
Exactly. Okay, now let's talk about pay rent. It's amazing for streamlining rent collection, but we also need to use it the right way.
What do you mean by that?
Well, those automatic reminders are great, but we need to think about how they sound and how often we send them.
We want to annoy people.
Right. We don't want to come across as too pushy or insensitive, especially if a tenant is having real financial problems.
It's about efficiency, but also being understanding.
Right. And another thing to keep in mind is that not every tenant is a tech expert. Some people might prefer to pay in person, or maybe they're not comfortable sharing financial info online.
Makes sense.
It's our job as landlords to address those concerns, maybe offer other ways to pay, and just make sure everyone feels comfortable no matter their tech skills.
It's all about creating that positive environment where both landlords and tenants feel valued and respected.
Exactly. I think that's a perfect note to end on. SmartMove and Pay Rent, they're incredible tools that can really change the game for landlords.
But they work best when we remember to be human and build those relationships.
That's the key. So as you're building your rental business, remember to use technology, but always keep that human touch. It's what will make you stand out and create a successful business for everyone involved.
Unlock your rental success.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on Keys to Success. Happy renting, everyone.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Keys to Success. I invite you to check out past episodes and follow us on your favorite podcast platform to get notified when new ones are released. And when you're ready to simplify managing your properties, be sure to visit us at www.payrent.com.